Shalom. Call halal, YAHAWASHI, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathens that look like the heathens. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And, the Spirit jumped on me. It shut down everything else I was doing and put the Spirit on me to do this after watching a short video from Kanye. And it's going to say that, this video at the top of the screen where it says face-to-face with hate group leaders on growth in the age of Trump, and it has a man that I actually despise on it, which is General Yohana. And I despise General Yohana because General Yohana is beyond obvious that he took that bag and he strayed away from the path. He was there, in the beginning, with the whole One West thing. Back there with my elders and my apostles, and he's not doing what they're doing. He doesn't go out on the street, and he strays away from what the Bible actually says and then teaches it and teaches that to his men. And he doesn't teach them well, because if it was so, with the amount of members in NISUPK, each individual member should be capable of putting up lessons to learn, to flood the media. But see, this is one of them 50C3 groups, and I noticed something that I've noticed, that the 501c3 charter groups, only certain individuals make videos. That must be a part of the contract agreement that they signed, because the same thing with IUIC and a couple other groups. So it makes me believe that maybe some of them have signed it as well, and that's why they don't really deal with it with the Great Millstone, because you're gonna get the straight skinny, because Yohana would get the microphone, and all he'll talk about is the black man this, the white man that. They barely mentioned the native tribes and the so-called Latinos, which falls right in line with what Esau's trying to do. That's why he calls this the black Hebrew Israelites. He's trying to keep that separation and not and make it as if this is a so-called black thing, and it's not. The construct of color and race as a race is something that they made up anyway. There's no such thing as black people. I'm looking at Yohana, and Yohana's skin is brown. And I'm looking at this guy that they were ignorantly and in their hatred-filled stupor will call him white. Well, that sign behind him with that swastika on it, the background in it, in the center of it, is white. His flesh is not. He's red. That pinkish red, because his blood shows forth through his skin. He's Esau. And the Jewish Edomites and the Christian hate-filled Edomites, they're at war with one another, and they're bringing you Israelites into the middle of it, and they're going to use you Israelites to join you to them, to their war, so that they can kill one bird with two stones. But let me go to the scriptures. It's enough rambling. Let me go grab a scripture that I had in mind as soon as I saw this video with Kanye. Because look, the men of the Lord, the Israelites, the message that Kanye is pushing, he's pushing it incorrectly, without knowledge. And the men of the Lord, especially the men of the Great Millstone, and the men that teach the likewise doctrine, the brothers of men of valor, the DTA, the sons of Jacob, and other camps out there that that teach the doctrine of that has been taught by the elders of the Great Millstone. They've been pushing this message for a long time. This message has been on it. It took off in 2007, and in the summer of 2007 is really when it took out. Late 2007, 2008, camps started popping up. They started popping up left and right. Now I was watching Priest Ahawam and Nathaniel late 2006, all the way through 2007. But it wasn't until the elders came on to things really started moving. you know, to where brothers got that fire on them to actually get involved. Because that's when I started seeking to get involved, when I saw the elders. You know, I was watching and learning, and it wasn't learning much, but you know, but nevertheless, it wasn't until the elders went on, because they had videos up, and Priest Iwan, I believe he's with HOI, if I'm not mistaken. I never really got that far with him, but you know, I always give that man respect, because he truly was like my first teacher, and he never, you know, he was the one that taught me the name of YAHAWASHI. All right. You know, and as far as I know, I saw him on TikTok. The brother's still doing the work, man. You know, he's an older brother. You know, he's out there in LA. But all that aside, let me read this scripture. This is Psalms 83, and I'm gonna start at verse 2, and it says, I started verse 1. It says, keep not thy silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? The Israelites. It's been hidden who they are. The hidden ones are the Israelites. They're not out in the open. All right? So anyone's been professing and proclaiming to be an Israelite all along, you know, that's not going along with Bible prophecy, with the Torah prophecy. You know, so you have to, you know, begin to question these people and not just hide behind the phrase anti-Semitic every time a question like that comes up. Well, you know, because when you read that definition, it says, you know, it's something that's attacking that, and that's not attacking it. It's just asking a simple question. All right, and it says, and they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in their remembrance. So that fits prophecy, because the actual Israelites, the name Israel, was no more in their remembrance. You understand? The prophecy said that they would lose their heritage. Let's go to and these are milk scriptures. This isn't some deep breakdown. This is Jeremiah 14 and 17 and 4, and it reads, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thine inheritance that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever, which means a long time. All right. There's a scripture someone could put on a comment board. I can't think of it right now, where it says that even King David, thy kings and princes, will also go into captivity. You know, the brother knows who the scripture that I'm alluding to. If you could post it on the comment board, but you know, it's telling you that right here, that the Israelites will be cut off from their heritage, and they wouldn't know who they were, and there would be no more in their remembrance. All right, let's go to First Maccabees, which is they avoided the whole, not only the chapter of the Maccabees, but the whole book of the Apocrypha, that whole portion of the Bible, because it really would have been hard to pull off the lie, which is Christianity, where, you know, extreme Christianism, extreme white Christianism, like the number 2 video here you see, this hate groups under Trump, that video there. It would have been hard to pull off Christianity, or this guy up here that's standing next to General, and look how they matching the Hebrew Israelites with Esau Edom, with as if. And they showing you, hold on, now here's where they tripped themselves up. Oh, shit, didn't mean to do that. If you look at the video, they keep flashing on the Northern Kingdom, on Hispanic brothers in the Hebrew Israelite group. All right? They're showing you so why are they calling it the black Hebrew Israelites when you have, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Brazilians, all these different people from Guatemala and Peru, all these different Israelite camps that has popped up all over South America. Lima, Peru, I believe. All right. All these different brothers down there. You got ISUPK, Mexico. You got ISUPK has camps down in Mexico. So how are you calling it the black Hebrew Israelites? See, that's the media trying to falsely control the narrative. All right, and keep that separation, because they already fear the awakening of the Israelites. The last thing they want is all the tribes to come back together. That really shakes them up. But here's First Maccabees. All right, and we're gonna go to verse 41. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 12, because some of our people chose to follow verse 12, 11. Some of our people chose to follow the way of the heathen. But nevertheless, it happened. And in that, there's a 400-year period of us being scattered and Hellenized, away from, many of us away from our cultures. Not to mention that the Northern Kingdom had come over here to the Americas. All right. There's biblical references and evidences of that. There's also physical references and relics and evidences of that. There's relics that were found all among the natives that prove that they came from the east, that prove that they were Israelites. There's probably a couple hundred different books that have been written on the subject matter. All which seem, to just, I guess, it was just a coincidence that all those books were left out of, the curriculum in all the schools here in the West. All right. But it says, this is First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, since we departed from them, and we have had much sorrow. And I look at General Yohanan and Bishop Nathaniel in that light, because they're leaders of large Israelite churches, and yet they've made these deals with Esau, Edom. And the reason we know that, because they stopped teaching the name the same. They strayed away from the doctrine that they learned from the seven, for the most part. And granted, the doctrine has grown since then. The more more understanding has come. And the Spirit has revealed a few things that were off, that has since been corrected. But nevertheless, these guys are in a position where they could really, do major damage to Esau, Edom, but they choose to work in cahoots with them. And that's beyond obvious when you have understanding of this Bible and the scriptures. They focus on things they build. They all have tons of women in their churches. They teach a woman-friendly doctrine. Why? Because they're some of their biggest contributors. I imagine the amount of money that's coming in just from the women alone. They teach, IUIC teaches that if a woman comes into this truth and she's with a man that doesn't believe, that she has to get with one of the men in the churches and get married to one of the men in their congregation. And that's adultery. What happened? What about the scripture that says that that the woman believes that her faith could cover her husband? They just do things. They just they become wing masters. They winging it, and they teach doctrines that please the flesh. Let's go back to Maccabees. Let's go up to Maccabees 1 and 41, and it reads, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to the whole kingdom that all should become one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many of the Israelites consented to this religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So all the other people, like you have to understand that Greeks, Rome at the time, was like being in California, New York, or Chicago. It was a melting pot of people. All right. And all these other heathen were following behind Esau, Edom. And then, like it says here, it said, so did the Israelites. They conformed. All right. You have the Hellenists and the Hellenista. Greek-speaking Jews. And other nations also were Hellenized. Well, they spoke other languages and had their own customs, but yet they started following the customs of the Edomites that had taken over Japhet's land and name and heritage. You know, this is what Esau does. He hijacks people's heritage. All right. They came to America. Now they're Americans. They went to Britain and now they're Britons. They went to Germany. Now they're Germans. And the same thing with Scotland, Ireland, Australia, Canada. All right. Well, doesn't it tell you that in Psalms 49:11, they take over lands and then they name them after themselves, reshape them and rename them after themselves. This is Psalms 49:11, and it reads, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, their dwelling places for all generations. They call their lands after their own names." Africa is named after a white man, Scipio Africanus. Asia is named after his brother, Scipio Asiaticus. All right. Elam wasn't calling himself Indian. They did. Indian means savage. My people over here, we weren't calling ourselves Indians. They did. They called us savage. They called us tree niggers, prairie niggers. As a matter of fact, that term nigger was first associated with the Native American before it even got labeled on the so-called Negro. All right? That's an American historical fact. Most people don't even know that. In 1683, they were declared the same people, and guess what? They were. That was 2 years after the so-called white man named himself white, or started using it in law and documentation, by the way. All right. But nevertheless, this message has been going out, you know, that to the four corners of the earth via the prophets, via the men of the great millstones, via the internet. All right. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find that real quick. That's Psalms 119. Way before Kanye, you know, while he was busy in the world making millions, turned it into billions, we were out on the highways and byways doing this work. And our apostles and elders out there, you know, long time before us. Now I was just listening to our beloved apostle Elder Gabar speak, you know, and in there he's three decades plus in this thing. So is all the apostles at this point. 3 decades plus, man. The elder bishops, 25 plus, 30 years themselves. You know. Then Kanye's coming along getting everybody riled up. But let me let me hold that on deck. All right, I got Psalms 119, but let me find this video with Kanye real quick, which, you know, it kind of inspired this video.
From black separatists on the sidewalk.
That wasn't what black separatists. You see that? That wasn't. Wow. Find that video and put it in again. It was the Breakfast Champs or something. When I clicked on that video, they kind of changed it. Hold on. Salakia, bear with me for a moment. It's a video of Kanye. And he's talking about, you know, if you kill him, somebody's going to stand up in his place or something to that effect. You know. Kanye West. Turn it down. Damn it. Esau's just really must take blame. And I'm not the greatest typer, so Salakia. Foe. And it was on Drink Champs, yeah. There we go. So Salakia. This is the video.
Agenda is to take God out of the homes and separate the families.
And that's true, because, you know, I just watched a program where they were showing you I guess the guy who was behind Sanford and Son. He was behind Good Times and the Jeffersons, and but it's a Jewish guy that took credit for all of those. And no, why would a Jewish guy know that much about the inner project living? And in Sanford and Son, and it was always dealing with Jake Sanford and Son. You had, him and Lamont, and then you had who was his neighbor, Julio. You know, so it was always about Jake and the things that were going on, because that's entertaining to people. And I was just watching some show, where the guy was fighting, going back and forth with the court over this, with this Jewish guy who was producer, or taking all the credit for all that. And he was like, these were my ideas and my writings, and which is totally believable. And I guess he did finally win something in court. But and then they showed the sister that played Thelma in Good Times, and she said how they really wanted to make the show, with a broken home without a father, Good Times. And eventually they did that, where they killed James off or whatever happened. But the woman refused to do it. She said, I don't want to represent a show with a broken family. I want to represent a show where the mother and father are both there. Right? And so we have been exploited. And so Kanye is saying what he's saying right here. He's absolutely right. But we've been teaching this message for decades, before him. I've been with the Great Millstone, pushing, like 14 years now. Or since 2007, how long that is up until then. I've been following them ever since. Dropped everything. Joined the camp in early 2008. Was trying to make my own until I was literally trying to, get a camp together, but I couldn't get nobody to do it with me. And hey, the Lord does things the way He wants to do it. All right. Left the world behind. Was deeply embedded in the whole MMA world. Being a fighter, training fighters. Being a part of fight camps and that whole sort of thing. Completely and totally walked away from that life to do this truth, man. Gave it up. All right. Sent the message on the comment board when I finally recognized that the camp was teaching downtown Chicago, and they messaged me back, and it's been a wrap ever since. But let's go.
That you're gonna get mayhem. You're gonna get Mad Max on the other side. The conservative agenda is still God runs the world. But what I'm doing is I'm me too in the Jewish culture. I'm saying y'all gotta stand up and admit to what y'all been doing. And y'all just got away with it for so long that y'all don't even realize what y'all doing.
No, that's where he's wrong. They realize what they're doing. The average everyday Jewish citizen that goes to work or usually running a business and other people working for them, in a lot of cases here in America, they haven't any clue because they've been the beneficiaries of it. But the people in the higher ups in that community are very well aware of what they've been doing. All right.
And if you take my life, there's going to be some college kid, some young Ye, some young Pac that's going to even go harder. Y'all thought George Floyd was going to send it up. If you took my life.
And that's true. If they killed Kanye right now, it would start a thing. But he's making it sound like this movement is something that he started. That he's the face of this. And he's not. All right. And I guarantee you and I promise you, this is all about stopping the word of the Lord, and particularly the group that is Great Millstone. That's why they never put our faces or our names in the advertisements. They'll show you ISUPK. They'll show you IUIC because they're no real threat. The real threat is the Great Millstone and the men that teach the likewise doctrine. That's why they try to keep us out of this mix here. All right, because they know which camps have taken a bag and can be coerced financially, with Hellcats and firearms and gold jewelry and the whole hip hop Israelite scene. Guys who got bars and not scriptures, or more bars than scriptures. Those type guys. All right, they know they can get around that. So basically what Kanye West is doing is not, the work of the Lord. Well, I take that back. He is doing the work of the Lord, but not on his own accord. The Lord is using him and using this social media platform to get this to the masses. So literally, he's taking away all the excuses for you Israelites out there that want to follow all these other false religions, Islam and Christianity and Buddhism and everything else. All right? Because judgment is coming. Call halal YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashem B'Kak B'dash, Wa Abba B'Bal, Kwam Yasharala Shalom.